Hi guys, can you hear me well? Nice. I'm Fer, I'm one of the 3 co-founders of Reveni and the CEO, and I'm today with Rosie, Head of Customer Care at ME+EM. I think that's all for the introduction, right?
Hi everyone, yeah, I'm Rosie. I'm Head of Customer Care at ME+EM. For those of you that don't know, ME+EM is a British luxury fashion brand for women. We've got 8 stores in the UK, 3 concession stores, and this year we've opened 3 stores in New York, and we're actually planning our 4th US store for the back end of this year as well. ME+EM has experienced huge growth. It's a really exciting brand to work for. I've been there for nearly a year now, and I've seen so much, learnt so much, and I'm doing so much, including with Fer and his team at Reveni. My background is customer service, customer care, last 20 years, and the last 7 years has been spent in luxury. So I've spent some time working with the Selfridges online team, then onto a smaller brand called Amara, which was luxury homeware, and now at ME+EM. My team at the moment, there's 14 of us. We look after all the UK, US customers, handling around about 3,000 contacts a week across phone, live chat, and email. All of the normal contacts you would expect. Where's my order? Where's my refund? Placing an order. Yeah, that's me and that's my team.
As you could guys guess for the title of the fireside, Reveni is our written platform. I won't do the pitch now. We have a break later, so if anyone wants me to do the pitch one-on-one, I'm happy to do that. We're going to be speaking about post-purchase experience and why is it important. But instead of me telling you guys why it's important, I'm going to ask Rosie, what do you think is post-purchase important right now?
It's such a good question. Millions are spent on acquiring customers, getting customers to your site, merchandising the site, trading the site, marketing. I sit on the weekly trade call every Monday and I listen to conversations about how much it costs to acquire customers the previous week. So I'm acutely aware of just how much businesses invest in acquiring these customers. And then that's all well and good. You've got them to purchase your product, but then there's a whole journey after that. And so much can go wrong, so much can go right. There's so much opportunity. And a lot of research out there at the moment is saying that if a customer has a bad post-purchase experience, either with delivery or with returns or whatever it might be, then 70% of those customers are not going to come back and repurchase. So it's quite scary, really, the amount that is invested in acquiring these customers and then the opportunity to just lose them just like that because of something's gone wrong. Yeah.
And that's even more important now where CAC is just keeps growing, right?
Yeah.
So focusing on loyalty is relevant.
Yeah.
And you guys, you've been growing a lot over the last years.
Yep.
And quite a lot.
A lot, yeah.
Now that you're growing that much, what kind of strategies have you implemented to try to improve customer experience in the post-purchase stage?
Yeah, we've done a lot. When I started a year ago, there was one person, head of operations, who looked after logistics, warehousing, carriers, and customer care. Compared to the head office where we were surrounded by marketers, the design teams, a whole bank of people touching up the website, all of the images, the brochure design, and then there was one person. So I've come in to look after customer care, and myself and the head of operations work really, really closely together to look at all of the strategies. So I guess delivery and returns are the main ones that we're looking at, but I cannot stress just how much of a transformation ME+EM is going through at the moment. Digitally, a huge transformation. Everything that could be transformed we are right in the middle of it right now. So we're in the middle of introducing Reveni. Next steps will be instant exchanges. We're in the middle of handling our carriers in the US who aren't looking after our parcels properly. So there's a lot of strategies, but there's a lot of firefighting going on at the moment as well. So we've got an idea where we want to get to, but we've also got the day-to-day to be dealing with too. Yeah, so there's a lot.
Yeah, we suffer the same. We are 20 people now in the company, and the first thing that always grows is sales, marketing. But then you see that you're getting new customers, you're growing, you're expanding, and then you need to have customer support or customer care. How can you now try to move from customers complaining, mainly in returns, to make that a loyalty lever? How can you do that now? What kind of strategies are you putting in place?
I guess if we focus on returns, and if it's okay, I'll just talk about the journey that we're going on with returns at the moment. So it's an opportunity, I think. I think businesses, online retailers shouldn't be scared of returns. You shouldn't hide away from that. Like, returns are a thing, especially in clothing. Apparat's got the highest return rate, obviously, because customers don't know their sizes. So you need to make it super clear, this is what our returns proposition is, this is how you return. So before you've even acquired that customer and they've purchased, they need to know how to return something. Again, there's quite a scary figure that 60% of shoppers will research a retailer's returns policy or proposition, and if it's not fit for purpose, they don't like it, they won't even purchase in the first place. So you need to get your returns proposition correct, and then you need to communicate that properly with customers as well.
What is that? What would be the perfect returns proposition for you?
Oh, that's a question.
Yeah,
We're figuring it out at the moment.
Question,
yeah.
So
if I just talk a little bit about kind of where we have been and where we're trying to get to. So our returns proposition was really, still is, because we're in the middle of it, really disjointed. So we had a returns portal for our US customers. We have a prepaid returns label in the parcels for our UK customers. And we're trying to remove that disjointedness. So this is why we've partnered with Reveni to try and be our returns solution. So we are live with Reveni now. It's live as a returns portal in the US, and it's live in the UK. There's a bit of reticence at the moment from the wider management team to remove our prepaid labels from our UK orders, just because it makes it so easy for our customers to return. And we've got quite a loyal customer base who, there's a bit of fear that if we remove those labels, we're going to really upset those particular customers. So I need to consider that. But I do wonder, actually, we need to move away. We need to take away these prepaid labels from the boxes, because I think even though we need to make it clear and easy for customers to return, I think possibly we're actually encouraging returns because we've literally providing a label to them. One of my colleagues, Rufus, head of operations, went to an event recently, a returns event, and ASOS disclosed that when they removed their prepaid label, their returns rate dropped by 9%. So that's quite a significant figure, yeah. So I, as head of customer care, need to pull some data and do some research to basically give reassurance to the business that we're going to be okay to remove this prepaid label. And actually, when we launched the portal for our UK customers with Reveni, the uptake was absolutely huge. I think a lot of the business thought that because we were still including this label, customers were just going to use that, but it turns out they're not. They're quite happy. Because their journey started online, they're quite happy to continue that online with the returns portal too. So yeah, like I said, we're right in the middle of it at the moment. The next step with the returns for us is exchanges. Exchanges has been and can be really difficult due to stock availability. So we're really excited to work with you guys for instant exchanges. So what that would mean is if a customer will go to the portal, they can select where they want to return or exchange, and it's called instant exchanges because as soon as they put their request through, an order is created, goes straight through to the warehouse, and that exchange is dispatched that day, whilst the customer still has their original item. So from a customer perspective, it's a great experience. We get around about 50 to 100 requests every week for exchanges, so our customers ring us up or contact to say, can I exchange? And at the moment, we have to say, I'm really sorry, you need to do it the old-fashioned way. You need to return your item, and then you need to repurchase. So we're really excited to get that live. Yeah,
we're excited too. And one last thing I would say is we are speaking about returns from the kind of customer experience. When it comes to reverse logistics, you sell a lot in the US. I think that's a massive milestone. Yep. What kind of things are you trying to do now to make that process more efficient?
For the US or just for returns in general?
Yeah,
so for the US, our old returns proposition, we consolidated returns in the US to make it a lot cheaper, but it was taking anything from 3 to 7 weeks for a return to get back to the UK. So obviously a customer experience, that's completely not acceptable. So we implemented a rapid refund process, which involves triggers. So when our order management system platform, Magento, got a trigger that the return had been received at the consolidation hub, it would trigger a refund. But because it was so complex, it kept failing. So one of our top contacts is, where's my refund? And it's our US customers saying, hey, I dropped my parcel off 4 weeks ago. I don't have my money back. So we have been kind of blindly, in good faith, refunding customers because We can see they've dropped their return off. We can see that scam. We don't know what they have returned, but from a customer experience and protecting that journey, we have been refunding. So we recently, and again, being completely transparent because we're in the middle of so much at the moment, we then put live returns with FedEx to come straight back to us, and that was a great experience. So customers were dropping off at a parcel shop in the US, and 4 days later it was back at the warehouse, it was scanned, they were refunded. So huge, huge improvement in the journey. But then what happened is we underestimated the actual cost to do that to the business. And when the cost came through for the first couple of weeks, our head of operations fell off his chair and came to me on Slack and was like, we need to rethink this. So we have gone back to a consolidated returns proposition, but in the background, what we're doing is looking at actually the value of getting that stock back a lot quicker. So even though it's incredibly expensive to get it straight back, because ME+EM has monthly collections and we aim to sell out every single month, we need that stock back. It can't sit in a consolidation warehouse for 6-7 weeks, because when it comes back, the likelihood of it being sold at full price is much lower. So we need to do a piece of work to add value to getting that stock back. And actually, I think that piece of work is going to show it's going to be worth paying to get that stock back. But right now, we haven't got the business buy-in because we haven't got those figures. So we've gone back to consolidation, but it's a better carrier, it's a better provider, and it's more like 2 to 3 weeks. And also what we're doing is implementing another rapid refund, which we're working with your team on literally this week on how to do that. So
let's see how it goes. Wrapping up, I think I'm going to say one thing that I've never told you before, I think, is that what I like the most about ME+EM, we work with lots of brands of the likes of Jigsaw and all that, but what I like about ME+EM is that customer care department is not like marketing, it goes with operations. So what you guys are doing very well is that Rose is bringing the mindset of we need to make customers loyal, we need to make that work, while Rufus, that you named him before, is thinking from the business side of things also. So the two of them, you two together, are doing a dynamic duo. It's amazing. Because it's not just from the customer care perspective or just from the operation perspective. Everything that they're doing, they're thinking like, how is this going to impact the business when it comes to revenues or costs, but also how is it going to impact the business from the customer care perspective.
Yeah.
And I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen that much.
Good.
That often. I think we are almost in time, so if you have any questions for Rosie or myself. Go ahead.
Question for Rosie. So you guys looking at a way of, say, labeling different customer types, so someone who's a constant buyer, give them that FedEx experience, someone who's maybe comes to ME+EM once every 6 months or so, give them the older experience. Look at doing something like that to kind of cut your costs and
Such a good question. And the first thing that we need to do is actually know who our customers are and where they... So again, we've very, very recently resegmented our customers. So we now, literally within the last 2 months, know who our gold customers are, silver, bronze. But we haven't done much more with that, to be honest with you. My team still work on Magento. We're about to move over to Centra. But my team and I guess any other team in the business haven't got visibility of who those customers are and so what, like, so okay, so you're a gold customer, but that would definitely be something that we could consider, so definitely with delivery options as well, is how do we treat people? Do we want to treat them differently or actually do we want a new customer to get a luxury experience, to build on that experience and get them back again? But yeah, for sure, there is that opportunity to do that. But first of all, we need to know who they are.
I'm going to add something to your question, even if it wasn't for me, is that in order to offer instant exchanges in Reveni, we have a profiling engine, like an underwriting model, to see who can be a froster or who's not going to be a froster, because we take the risk of the first product not coming back, right? We ship the new one. What happens if you don't resend the product, right? That's a question we ask ourselves. Same with the instant refund. And we're working on scoring those customers, but across merchants, which is pretty cool, right? Because say my wife is buying a dress in ME+EM for the first time, but she has 7 dresses of the competition. For ME+EM, that's a very important customer because it's someone that can buy a lot, but for them, perspective with their own data is not relevant, right? So we're working also on that to make that data cross-merchant and be able to give a service to our merchants saying, okay, you work with us in a merchant base, we can give you scoring on depending on the different parameters, how good are the customers, not only in your company, but also across the different merchants. Of course, with data and mice and all that, but yeah. You had a question.
How are you dealing with fraudulent returns? So basically, Telegram groups that share companies that do instant refunds, and then scammers making misuse of that.
Yeah, we've suffered that already. The question is how we deal with fraud and fraudsters. During the return process, we keep analyzing customers. We use three kind of data sources: third-party data, historical data, and behavioral data. And we mix the three of them in what we call the underwriting model, and that gives us scoring. The tricky part here is not only not to have fraud, but also to not incentivize customers that don't want to be fraudsters, but say, yeah, I'll return the parcel later, and they never return the product. So we also have a collection process, and that gives us the hint on how to recover the money if the customer is misbehaving, or to avoid fraudsters coming back and back and back. That can be a killer. There's lots of fun stories of customers misbehaving. Yeah.
Hi, I'm curious about the instant exchange functionality. Did Reveni take the risk there and own the second product? Is that how it works?
Yeah, what we do is we issue the second product right away, and we take that risk, as you said, on the first one. So say the customer doesn't understand the product, they use Telegram and they ship, I don't know, a bag full of sand. Then what we do is that we give the money back to the merchant, and we go and ask to the customer to behave better, depending on the depending on the rejection reason, is friendlier or say not that friendly. Yeah.
But we will work with Reveni to make sure that we're happy with the communication. So where Reveni have to step in and start chasing customers, that we've got visibility of that type of communication as well. Yeah, because there will be those genuine customers who have every intention of returning, but I've done it. You have a return packaged up, sat on your windowsill for 3 weeks, and you kind of forget. But yeah, so we need to make sure that we don't then mistreat those customers as well.
Yeah, I mean, the last thing I purchased online is not very sexy to say this, but it was a pan, like for the kitchen, and it arrived broken, and I asked for the return to Amazon. And it took me 7 days to return the product, and it was 7 days and not 8, because Amazon sent me an email saying, hey, if you don't return this, you're going to keep it, and we're not going to refund you the money. So that's one thing we're working a lot with ME+EM and other companies, is to make that communication better along the process, so they don't feel threatened, but they behave correctly. But yeah, there's one point where we need to be a bit stronger with the end customer. We break that relationship with the brand. So it's our branding, the one that is like chasing the customer. Yeah. More questions?
Question for you, Rosie. You said that there's sort of the ASOS data you've got lots of decisions, strategic decisions.
Yep.
And you've always got to build a business plan for whatever you choose to do in terms of technology. How are you approaching that next piece of work? Like, clearly for lots of brands, you sort of make a decision to change a piece of technology or let's change our returns approach.
Mm-hmm.
That law of unintended consequences. How are you testing or modelling or building that? Do you know yet?
Again, that's another good question. And sometimes we haven't done, sometimes we've just gone blindly into it. I think touching on, Naveed, what you said earlier, myself and Rufus, head of operations, got really excited about Reveni. We progressed conversations, and then we looped in merch, finance, and IT. And each one of those parties had but you haven't thought about this, and you haven't thought about that. So me and Rufus are like, okay, right.
We were that same.
Yeah. So that's a lesson learned for us. So some of it, because we are moving and we're growing so quickly, we're making really quick decisions. Sometimes because something is completely broken and actually we have to fix it really quickly. We haven't got time. But other things, is just using a lot of data. So a lot of what I do in my team, which I really like doing, is gathering the insights from customers and then making that to form decision making. So where I know one of my top contacts might be, where's my refund? I'll calculate using my cost per contact how much that's actually costing the business, and then use that data to convince the business we need to either fix this process that's broken because it's affecting this many customers, it's taking this much time and costing this much to fix, or there's a new service that our customers are actually asking for, and here's the proof, like the exchanges, for example. So data, a lot of data will be used to determine those decisions. But then there's a lot that I'm completely not involved in as well, with regards to order management systems getting changed, the refactoring of the website. I guess what I do from my perspective is just try and infiltrate as many of those conversations as possible, because every single thing that happens in the business will impact the customer, which then impacts me and my team. So I have to have ears and eyes open all the time.
Sorry, can I ask the Patchworks question now as well? So if this is already running and working on Patchworks systems, yes it is, otherwise we wouldn't need it.
No.
No, it's not.
Nope.
If the question was going to be, is this a pre-built piece that we can just use, and there's a connector that plugs straight into Reveni from Patchworks, and it speaks to whatever ERP or backend it is we've got, would we have to rebuild this one?
We're very married to Patchworks right now. So I'm not saying this because they're sponsoring the event. It's true, right? We use one thing that's called Powered by Patchworks. So lots of integrations happening in the UK are done through them. Like integration with PeopleBox, for instance, right? It's not just integrating with the brand, what we want, it's also to integrate with other systems. Like with ME+EM, we integrated with the warehouse and with other tools. So yeah, we do that through Patchworks lots of times.
Round of applause.